Hey, VegiDarian here. Now I just wanted to say that I made this tier list video near the start of the month and I wasn't going to upload it until later. But then 2 days ago, the Shonen Jump Twitter announced that the Hunter x Hunter manga will be returning on October 23rd. Now I got super hyped up about that, so I'm just uploading the tier list now. And there will be anime and manga spoilers. You have been warned. Now enjoy the video. Hello everybody, it's VegiDarian here and welcome to another tier list. This is not a games tier list, but an anime tier list on my favorite anime of all time, Hunter x Hunter. Look at me, bro. I got the shirt. I got Paladin's necklace. I even got my Hisoka plush over here. We're doing this now. This is not a strength tier list. I am not a top tier power scaler. It's just how much I like the characters. Now, I didn't make this template. Someone else did. I'll link in the description below. But they added a lot of characters who are pretty unnecessary, and if I left them in, they would probably just fill up C and D tier. So here are all the irrelevant characters. Now there's going to be more characters in the irrelevant tier, but if I add more later on, it's because I need to explain why they're irrelevant. And there were 3 duplicates. There was Poco, Ponzu, and Kaluta. You see all the irrelevant characters? Good, because I'm clearing this tier, so they'll all be at the bottom. So we're starting the list with Aluka, and we're ending with Zushi. Also, there's a thunderstorm going on outside, so if you hear any of that bleed into the audio, my apologies. Alright, we're opening up with Aluka. Aluka, and it's including Nanika, because there's no Nanika on this list. I know sometimes people rank them separately, I would just rank them together. So Aluka, I'm gonna put it a solid B tier. I love her relationship with Killua, she's so adorable, and I love Nanika's, powers. Granting wishes at the steep cost for the next person that wants to request wishes is really cool. I might want to put Aluka in A tier though. For now, we'll keep Aluka in B. This is not I don't have to just lock in. I can move them around. I could say Aluka's S tier and then change my mind later. So for now, we're going to put Aluka at a good B tier. Amane, we'll put her at C tier. When she's separated from Tsubone, we're able to see a little bit more of her personality, but I don't think it was enough to really cement her as a character. She doesn't have any abilities either. Her only ability is to ride Granny Bike, the best bike in the world, so maybe that deserves her to be an S tier. I don't know. We're gonna keep her in C tier for now though. Biscuit Kruger. I love Biscuit. We're gonna put her in A tier. Her Hatsu, while not useful in combat, does have a practical use, and I was really happy when she returned in the Chimera Ant arc for the small portion of time that she was there, because I love Biscuit. I loved her during Greed Island. At first I thought she was annoying, but then she grew on me. Blaster, I might, okay, do I want to put him in D tier or irrelevant? I'll put him in D. Him and Welfin they served as conflict for Icalgo, because anybody else on the extermination team, I was about to say expedition team, that's 2 arcs after that, but anybody else on the extermination team would have just wrecked Blaster, so I'm gonna put him on D tier. Bonolenov, not my favorite member of the Phantom Troop. I'm gonna put him in C tier only because I really like his ability. Alright, it's time. The Zodiacs. Let me just round all of them up. Now the Zodiacs, they're important in the Hunter x Hunter world, but we just don't see enough of them. We might see more of them in the upcoming arc, but for now, the only important ones are Mizai-san, Cheetle, Jing, and Parison. I know this monkey guy, he's like a traitor, he's working with Beyond. But otherwise, the rest of these guys, they're all irrelevant. Canary we'll put in C tier. She's just alright. We'll put her right next to Amane. Actually, I like her a little bit more than Amane. Now, the thing with Cheetle is that she's kind of like a third wheel in Jing and Parison's 4 billion IQ battle. Because Cheetle, she just doesn't measure up to them, but she did become the 13th chairman of the Hunter Association. So we'll put her in C tier. I like Chitu's personality more than Blaster. His abilities, they vary from being complete garbage, like that crossbow claw he had. I can't even say that the dimension he conjured to play tag with Moral was unique, because you got characters like Nav, who also conjure dimensions. But his personality's fine, I guess. We'll put him in C. The Chimera Ant Queen. Character-wise, she's pretty irrelevant. she's the mother of all the Chimera Ants. So she's important to the story. I just don't think she's very interesting. Crollo, S tier. One of the most interesting characters in the series, and one of the best examples of how Nen represents you as a person. Crollo has one of the coolest Hatsus, Bandit's Secret, which allows him to take the abilities of other Nen users. This can translate to Chrollo not being able to find an identity for himself, so he takes it from others. Such a brilliant character. Plus his design. This man is dripped out. He's got the jacket, the nice earrings, and when he went undercover, he had the suit and he had to bandage up his tattoo, but he looked sick. And he just fought Zeno and Silva, not no difficulty, but he wasn't trying to kill them. And even Zeno says, yeah, if you're trying to kill us, we'd be dead. So, Chrollo, S tier. I know I said it's not based on strength, but it's just really cool that he could fight two of the top tier humans. Colt. I have Colt here, but Reina is still in the irrelevant tier. Colt, I think he's alright. We'll put him in C tier. Dune and the rest of the creators of Greed Island, aside from Jing and Razor, honestly are pretty irrelevant. Get Ita, Elena, where's the list? Here we go. Yeah, my bad guys, you're all irrelevant. Phaeton is my personal favorite member of the Phantom Troop. I love his demeanor, I love his Nen ability. Pain Packer is awesome! The one problem I have with him is his weapon. I just think it's pretty lame that he has a sword because Nobunaga also uses a sword. I know their sword styles are very different, but when Phaeton first whipped out the umbrella, I thought he was going to use it like a spear because he had the spike at the end that he could fire off like a projectile. But no, he uses it as a sword. And plus in York New, we just saw him ripping off people's heads with just his bare hands. I know it's because they didn't have Nen and he did, but that would have been cooler than the sword. But I still love Phaeton, he's going in S tier. Okay, the only reason I have Flutter and this girl on here is because they're part of Lael's squad, and I really like Lael. But they're irrelevant. Flutter's Nen ability is alright, I guess, and she's a Nen exorcist, so I guess it's fine. Franklin, I almost just want to put him in D tier so he can be right next to Bloster, because they have the exact same Nen ability. Well, not the exact same, they have very similar Nen abilities. But I actually like Franklin, so we're gonna put him in C tier. Ooh, okay, Genthru's tough, because as a character, he's fine, I guess. I know opinions on him are mixed. I really like his abilities, though. Like, explosion abilities in anime are really cool. I'll put him in C tier. I'm debating C or B. I don't think he's that good. We'll just keep him in C. Jing freaks. Now, Jing, he's the buildup of the whole story. The whole reason it's called Hunter x Hunter is because it's Gon, who is a hunter, trying to find Jing, who's another hunter. But when we meet him, we find out, I actually like that he's not like a model father. He actually really doesn't want to meet Gon. He wants him to get stronger, and he's testing with Greed Island, stuff like that. But he just doesn't want to have like a relationship with Gon. I'll put him in B tier. We don't know much about like his abilities. And I feel like the manga is where we're really going to get into like Jing as a character and see how interesting he is, especially with his rivalry with Pariston. So Jing, I'll put you at B tier. Gon freaks, the former protagonist of Hunter x Hunter. We don't know if he's coming back. I personally don't think that he is, but if he does, I won't be mad about it. I'm gonna put Gon in A tier. I really did enjoy following him throughout the journey, and in Chimera Ant Arc is when he peaked. Everybody knows this. I've heard a complaint that like Gon is only interesting in the Chimera Ant Arc. I personally don't think so. I did enjoy following his journey all the way through, even though in like York New, he was kind of pushed to the side a little bit for Kurapika. But I still liked him. I enjoyed watching his journey. I love his Nen ability though, the Jajon Ken, and of course we need to talk about Adult Gon! Oh my gosh, Adult Gon was sick, and you cannot disagree. But with great power comes great responsibility, and Gon did not use that power responsibly, so he lost his Nen. But he got a second chance at life, just potentially without Nen. So Gon, if you don't return to the series, at least know that you're an A tier character to me. Garenu, I must have skipped Garenu. He's pretty irrelevant. Goto, the coin guy. I'm gonna put Goto in C tier. His death against Hisoka, like I know if you're fighting Hisoka, you're probably gonna die. But it was kind of unexpected. I don't know, I just didn't expect Goto to die. And then when Hisoka did the questions from the Grim Reaper, that was really cool. But that's more of a Hisoka moment than a Goto moment. Hisoka came down and slit his throat with the cards. Hanzo. C tier is gonna be really inflated. Hanzo's C tier, yeah, he's alright. His Nen ability's fine, he just makes a clone while he's sleeping. Otherwise, I guess his fight with Gon was pretty cool. It was just Hanzo beating him up for 3 hours, breaking his arm, threatening to cut off his legs. But he's just not B tier. He's not with these guys. He's with these guys. Hisoka is my personal favorite character in the entire series. I got the plush. I have a poster of him, but it's behind my desk so you can't see it. I have a shirt, but I'm not wearing it right now. But trust me, I love Hisoka. His bungee gum, of course, possesses the properties of both rubber and gum. And I like the fact that he likes fighting strong people. That's like what he loves. And he will size people up for years and years just so he can fight them when they're ripe. And just every time Hisoka's on the screen, it's so exciting, so you just don't know what he's gonna do. He can literally play any role: antagonist, anti-hero, supporting character, and, in his fight against Chrollo, protagonist. And yes, his fight against Chrollo is my favorite fight in the entire series. 10 out of 10. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Triple chef's kiss. Hisoka, my #1 favorite character. Ikalgo. I like Ikalgo. We'll put him in... I almost just want to have like a C+ tier, because I feel like Genthru and Ikalgo would go in there. If there's one more character that deserves C+, we'll make the tier. But I liked Ikalgo. His friendship with Killua was sweet, and he presented an interesting conflict because he was able to fight the weaker members of the Chimera Ants that the other members of the extermination team would just wipe out, like Blosser and Welfin, and he had to use a lot more strategy. He couldn't just go in and start boxing them up. But his Nen ability is pretty gross, because he has to crawl inside of the corpse that he's possessing. Otherwise, Ikalgo's pretty cool. And look at the little beanie he has on, that's adorable. Illumi, I'm gonna put in A tier. I know it's a little controversial. I might, I know a lot of people put him in B, but I think he's an A tier character. His ability is pretty simple, but I love his personality. And the same thing with Hisoka. Every time I saw him on the screen, I just got really excited. And I love his demented, twisted love for Killua. He loved his brother so much that he put a needle in his head that would make Killua run away if there was an opponent that he was not absolutely certain that he could beat. But then he has this power-hungry side that we see at the end of the 13th Chairman arc that makes him want to control Killua even more so he can control Nanika as well and just basically have unlimited power. Of course, right now in the manga, spoilers, Illumi joins the Phantom Troop to hunt Hisoka, even though I have heard the theory that the Illumi on the Black Whale 1 is actually just Hisoka using his advanced texture surprise. Will that theory hold up? Maybe. Netero. I think, A or S for Netero. I'm gonna stick him in A tier, because Netero, he represents love and hatred. He represents the love that he has for martial arts, and then he represents the bitter malice in the human heart. Like, man, that scene at the end of Netero versus Meruem, man. When he uses his Ren and scares Meruem, he's like, don't underestimate humans. But he's not like, don't underestimate humans, because humans are strong and humans can overcome adversity. No, no, no. He says, don't underestimate the endless malice in the human heart. And then stops his heart, rose bombs, and attempts to kill Meruem. That was cool. That was really cool. You know, Netero, he's an old anime guy. You know what happens to old anime guys. He didn't die a death like... spoiler for Naruto. 3, 2, 1. He didn't die a death like Jiraiya did, right? Jiraiya died with a smile on his face with promise for the future. Netero died also with a smile, but just knowing that he could potentially take out his greatest foe and show the endless malice of humanity. Also, the 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva is an amazing Nen ability. Just the way the animators went off with the 99th hand was awesome, and the 0 hand, it didn't do much damage to Meruem, but it was awesome nonetheless. Oh, and his fight against Meruem is also pretty cool. You know, minor stuff. Next up is Kaluto. Kaluto is just alright, I'm gonna be completely honest. I know I said that Kaluto was like not in the irrelevant tier, but Kaluto's kind of irrelevant, but I'm not gonna put him in that tier. Kikyo, though, will go in irrelevant. Killua. He's Killua! Do I need to explain myself? He's Killua! He's right up there with Gon for main character of the story. He has one of the most amazing Nen abilities. Just when he whipped out Godspeed against Yuppie and thrashed him like there was no tomorrow. Until, you know, his timer ran out. But that was so cool. And just him throughout the whole series. Him trying to break away from his family's darkness so he could be friends with Gon. That was beautiful. And at the end in 13th Chairman, when he finally goes to free his sister, that was also beautiful. Plus, his techniques are really cool. All his assassination techniques from the Zoldyx were really awesome. I'm gonna put Kite in A tier. I really like his ability. Crazy Slots is a really fun ability, and it might hint to like a potential love of gambling towards Kite, which I think is kind of funny. Even though we only saw the scythe, the gun, and the wand that he used against Pito, and that's another thing. His death at the hands of Pito. Now, I don't want to like count his death towards how much I like him, because it's more of a Pito thing than a Kite thing. But if it wasn't Colt and Reyna getting eaten by the Chimera Ant Queen, if it wasn't Pokel getting lobotomized and then eaten by the Chimera Ant Queen, it was Kite dying at the hands of Pito that completely changed the tone for the Chimera Ant arc. Plus, in 1999 and in the manga, Kite was like our first look at what a hunter was. He gave Gon Jing's hunter's license and told him to go find him one day. So Kite, solid A tier character. Next up is Nav. I'm going to put Nav in B tier. I don't like him as much as the other members of the extermination team, although I find it hard to call him even a member of the team. Because everybody knows Nav's most famous moment was his solo invasion of the palace, where he saw Poof's end and he was just thinking, what happens if I get caught? And that knocked him out for the rest of the arc. He quit the team, his hair started going gray, and then 13th chairman, it was falling off. That was another thing with the tone. Like, Nav's whole character transformation was just crazy. Not like crazy, like cool, just crazy, like, whoa, like major change of the tone. Well, not major change of the tone. Really emphasizing this new darker tone for Chimera Ant. His Hatsu hide and seek is really cool too. He conjured a whole dimension. It's like a hotel room with all these different floors. It's cool. Speaking of cool, we have Knuckle. Knuckle's A tier. Don't play with me. The only argument that should be had is why he's not S tier, which I don't think he's an S tier character. He's really close, but not quite there. His Nen ability, of course, Chapter 7, Bankruptcy with Hakaware. Hakaware is also really cute, but it just shows Knuckles' gentle nature. He doesn't even physically hurt his opponents when he uses his Hatsu. He just gives them aura. And then once, the IRS activates, it doesn't kill or harm his opponent. It just makes them totally helpless, which could lead to Knuckle murdering them afterwards, or it could just lead to them being no longer a threat and Knuckle leaving them alone. It really emphasizes his gentle nature. Plus, he has a pompadour. This man's like Kuwabara if Kuwabara had black hair, and I love Kuwabara. He's going in A tier. Okay, Komugi. Komugi's interesting. I'm gonna put her in C tier because she herself, she's not really interesting. Of course, the interesting part of Komugi is the change that she inspires in Meruem. That's the really interesting part. But Komugi on her own, C tier. Cortopi, C tier. Gallery Fake's alright. Do I want to put him in D tier? His ability keeps him in C tier, at the very bottom of C tier. But we're going from the bottom of C tier to nearly the tippity top of S tier. The only wall in the way is a clown. Kurapika is my second favorite character of the story, and if Hisoka wasn't there, he would definitely be my favorite character. His backstory, his motivations, his abilities. He has my favorite quote in all of anime.
死は全く怖くない。一番恐れるのはこの怒りがやがて風化してしまわないかということだ。
This man has it all. He is the original survivor of the Red-Eyed Clan. Do I like him more than Sasuke? Maybe. And I'm really happy that we're following Kurapika throughout the Dark Continent, because he wasn't there at all during Chimera Ant, he wasn't there during Greed Island, and he barely showed up during 13th Election. He gets 2 arcs. Well, kind of 2 arcs. He gets York New, which was a phenomenal arc, my second favorite arc in the story, and he gets Dark Continent, which is still ongoing. Leo's B tier. I like his attire. I like his personality, I like his ability. It's just Discount Bandit Secret, but I think it's pretty nice. And his fight with Moral is cool, even though that's more of a Moral moment because Moral completely, destroys him. But I liked Leo. I thought he was pretty nice. Leorio. Oof. Do I want to put Leorio in B tier and A tier? Do I like Leorio as much as these guys? Or do I like him as much as these guys? I don't know. I said I want to make a C+ tier, but I also want to make, an A- tier to put Leorio in. We'll keep him in B tier for now. If I might change my mind later, we'll see. But Leorio is one of the most endearing characters. He's one of the core 4 protagonists, debatably 5 if you count Hisoka. But just when we first meet him, he's obsessed with money. And you think he's like, oh, this guy's just only in it for money. But then you find out that he wants all the money so he can become a doctor. So he doesn't have to charge people when he performs operations on them. He can just remove tumors, cure diseases free of charge. And that's so endearing. But I like Leorio. We're going to keep him in B tier. Machi. Again, B tier, A tier. I'm really digging that A- tier right about now. We'll keep her in B tier. But if one more character hops in this tier, I'm like, they might be A. We'll make the A- tier. I love Machi's design. She's my favorite female member of the fan troop. I like her more than Shizuku. Her Nen ability is pretty alright. You know, the Nen threads. It's really cool that she could use it to, like, stitch together your hands, blood cells, nerves, and all. That's really cool. And just her relationship with Hisoka is really interesting to watch. Meleoron's ability is really cool. Perfect Plan and God's Accomplice. I'm gonna put him in B tier. His ability really just carries him. Plus, he's a really endearing character too. Speaking of endearing, we have the most endearing and peaceful character, Melody. I like Melody. Don't like her as much as these guys, but I'll stick her in C tier. Yuppie, I'm gonna put in B tier. I like Yuppie's whole character arc. Because you look at Yuppie and you think he's just a meathead. He's just there to protect the king. Through his fights with Shoot and Knuckle and Moral and I guess Killua, he learns what honor is. And he holds that honor for the rest of his life, no matter how short that was. His abilities are cool. Rage Cannon is really awesome. And just the way he can morph his body. I don't know if that's a Nen ability or if that relates to him being a magical beast. But either way, neat abilities, really like his character. His centaur form looked really sick, even though he only used it for a short time. And at the end, when he spared Knuckle and Moral, when he kept his promise, that was cool. That was cool. Yuppie earned my respect. Next, we have the king of the Chimera Ants, Meruem. He's S tier. Who's not putting Meruem in S tier? Let's be honest. Who's not doing that? If you're not doing that, you didn't properly watch Hunter x Hunter. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. His arc from monster to man, his relationship with Komagi, gaining his humanity. Ugh. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Meruem is S tier if I've ever seen one. Miluki, irrelevant. Aunt Mito, irrelevant. Mizaistan, oh no, not D tier. Well, we're gonna add that C+ tier, hang on. One of the 4 important Zodiacs. He's neat, his ability is neat. I like him. Yeah, that's all. Moral! A tier! His deep purple is such a cool ability. Moral's just such a cool guy, you know? He just lugs around that giant pipe to use with his Hatsu. He's such a chill guy, and plus he's strong. He fought Leol, no issue. He was fighting Poof, even though Poof, you know, he had his trickery. You know, he was up there with the extermination team, even though he was about to get one shot by Gon when he tried to test them, but that Chimera and Gon is just built different. I'm debating if I should put Moral in S, because he has the personality, he has the abilities, he has the coolness factor, his drip, he just wears that suit, looks around that pipe, always wears those sunglasses. I'll keep him A tier though. I'll keep him in A tier, I'll keep him with Knuckle. Nefer Pito. Pito, I know people put Pito in S. I'm gonna put Pito in A. But at the start, when Pito was the only royal guard, she just had this, like, sinister presence. Like, oh my gosh, how are our characters gonna fight this thing? She takes out Kite. Netero looks at her and says, yeah, that thing is stronger than I am. When Poof and Yuppie get introduced though, her divine sinister presence kind of dwindles. She becomes a little silly, but still intimidating, just not to the same degree as she was before. Of course, her net abilities, Terpsichora, the Puppet One, and Dr. Blight were really nice. I don't want to talk about her fight with Gon, because that was most definitely a Gon moment more than a Pito moment. And I love Pito's design too. I like the design of all the royal ants, but I think I like Pito's do I like Pito more than Poof? I don't know if I like Pito's design more than Poof. We'll get to him when we get to Poof. Nobunaga, B tier. The thing with Nobunaga is we've seen his human side. When Gon and Killua got brought to the Phantom Troop hideout and we saw Nobunaga crying, that definitely humanized him more than I think the other troop members. It showed that these cold-blooded killers have feelings of their own. But we just haven't seen... We don't even know what his ability is. We know he uses a sword, and it probably relates to his sword, and we also know that it's pretty expendable, according to Shalnark. But I like Nobunaga nonetheless. We'll put him in B tier. Pakunoda, C+. She's kind of forced into being interesting at the end of Yorknu. Her Hatsu is pretty nice though, I gotta admit. She also gets humanized to a degree where it's, you know, she cares about Chrollo, even though Chrollo said, if there's a situation, don't put the group before me. But, you know, she doesn't do that because she cares about Chrollo and she wants Chrollo to survive because she thinks that the troop still needs Chrollo, which they probably do. But that's really all she has. Otherwise, she's just another member of the troop right before she's just thrust into the climax of the arc. Palm, I think Palm is C+ as well. Yeah, she's not scraping B yet. She's at C+. Her Hatsu's pretty neat. Harriston Hill. I almost want to put him in S tier, but again, same thing with Jing. We haven't seen enough of him. But I really did like his character. He's my favorite member of the Zodiacs, as a matter of fact. But yeah, hopefully we'll see more of him. By the time the Dark Continent comes out, he might be up here. You never know. Next up, we have Finks. I like Finks. We'll put him in B tier. I love his Nen ability, the Ripper. The Ripper Cyclotron. That's such a cool name, too. And just the way that he no-diffs that Chimera Ant that he fights. Polkul. We'll put Polkul and Ponzu together. They're not really interesting. The only interesting part that comes out of Polkul and Ponzu is their death, which was horrifying in the case of Polkul. And I guess Ponzu, too. Ponzu got shot multiple times and then eaten. Polkul got lobotomized and then fed to the Chimera Ant Queen. That was horrifying. His Nen ability's fine. Her Nen ability, I think it has something to do with bees. I honestly don't remember. We're gonna put them in C. What? I missed Ramon. Ramon is irrelevant. Who cares? Razor. I'm gonna put Razor in B tier. I thought he was interesting. His Nen ability was pretty interesting. And the whole Dodgeball was just really fun. It was my favorite part of Greed Island. Just the fact that it's this lethal game of dodgeball against this actual menace over here. And just the way he was playing with Gon, that was great. Alright, this might be my hottest take on the tier list. I really like Poof. I like him a lot. He's my favorite Royal Guard. I like his design. I like his abilities. I like the fact that his vision for the king... Okay, so, here's the thing with Poof. He loves Meruem, right? He has to protect him. But his vision for what Meruem can be is kind of overshadowing who Meruem is. He wants the king to be a certain way, but he can't tell him to be that way because he's not the king. And he's really the main antagonist of the last part of the Chimera Ant arc before he ultimately dies. And I really did like Poof. He goes out of his way to go behind the king's back just so we can take out Komagi before he remembers who she is, so the king could be the perfect king that he's always envisioned. Shalnark. I really like Shalnark's demeanor. He's always happy. You know, he's a happy-go-lucky guy, even though they go around murdering people and robbing people. Black Voice. It's not as good as Illumi's needle manipulation. But he did have that point in the Chimera Ant arc where he went like Super Saiyan when he put himself in autopilot. I'll put him in C tier. Shizuku, also C tier. She's not that interesting. I think Shoot is C+. I think Shoot's pretty neat. It's like, you see this guy and you think, oh, he's the stoic, cool guy. But then in actuality, he's a coward. But when he really put himself out there to fight Yuppie, that was cool. When he broke his boundaries, he fought Yuppie. And even at the end, when he couldn't fight Yuppie anymore, just that part where he was crying because Yuppie left him there. He looked at him and walked away. Didn't even bother to finish him off. And he wounded his pride. That was a cool moment. I'm gonna put him in C tier. Or C+ tier. Yeah, that was a Shoot moment more than a Yuppie moment. Silva's C tier because we haven't seen much of him. We haven't seen as much as we've seen of Zeno. We saw him come out and like one-shot Chitu. We saw him fight Chrollo alongside Zeno. And then the Zoldyck arc, he had that little bond moment with Killua. That was cute, but not enough to put him up. We're gonna keep him in C. Give me a minute. I just need to add another tier. There we go. Alright, coming down to the wire. Tesgera. C tier, I guess. Says Garo was alright. Uvogin, B tier. I did like his rambunctious personality. He's the true essence of what it means to be a bandit. When he's talking to Shalnark's like, yeah, with enough money, you can get anything you want on the Hunter website. He's like, I don't like the idea of money. If I want something, I take it. His Hatsu's pretty basic, but really powerful. I don't want to bring up his fight with Kurapika either. That's like the one thing he gets, aside from him like taking down the Shadow Beast. The only thing he gets is his fight with Kurapika, but that's definitely more of a Kurapika moment than an Uvo moment. But I like him, I like his personality, his ability's pretty neat, he'll be in B tier. Tsubone, she has Granny Bike, bro, that's S tier, she goes above Meruem, obviously. No, Tsubone, she's better than Amane, I guess, but not by much. I'll just keep her in C tier. Welfin, I'm gonna be honest, I did not like Welfin. Even though he was the one who ultimately told Meruem Komugi's name after he lost his memory. I don't like Welfin. Wing, he's C tier. He struck this balance between quirky and strict when he was mentoring Gon and Kilo about Nen. He's just alright, we'll put him in C. Zazan, I guess I'll stick her in D tier. Zeno, I'll put in B. Dragon Dive carries heavy, because Dragon Dive is a spectacular Nen ability. Yeah, he's interesting enough to put in B tier. I like him enough. Last two, Zepile. I completely skipped him. He's irrelevant. And Zushi, we'll put him in C tier. One anticlimactic finish, but that's the tier list. There are no other characters over here to worry about, because they're all irrelevant. So there we go, that's the tier list. Let me know what you thought of it down below. Let me know what changes you think I should have made, even though it's, my opinion. I want to hear your thoughts. If you want to see more Hunter x Hunter or just anime videos, let me know down below, because I love anime. My name used to be Anime Darian before I changed it to VegiDarian. So yeah, it's some nice little VegiDarian lore. It's growing. But if you enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload. So yeah, that's all. Bye, guys.